You know, prayer for the believer is like breathing. It is that deliberate act that we're taught that connects us with God. But let's dig into it. Let's talk about prayer and what it means to us. It's time for Grace Points. June 6, 1944, I'm reading some history, and I discover that on that day in Union Station right here in Washington, everybody stopped what they were doing, got on their knees, and began to pray. You know, Union Station with these castle-like ceilings, this huge expanse, the hustle and bustle of travel. People are going from one destination to the next, one terminal to the next. There's hundreds of people around. They're all around you. The hustle and bustle of travel, it's there. And suddenly, one by one, they began to fall to their knees, fold their hands, and begin to pray. It starts with a woman, and then there's a man who drops to his knees next to her, another man across the way, and suddenly everybody around them begins to pray. What was happening? June 6, 1944, it was D-Day. They'd gotten word that they'd landed in Normandy. The invasion had begun. And suddenly, people of every walk of life, right there in Union Station went silent, and people began to call on the name of the Lord. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17 gives two words that I want to give you today. Pray continually. That's it. The previous verse tells you be joyful always, but verse 17 is where we land today. Verse 17 says pray continually. We have a habit of doing everything else but prayer, even as believers. We talk to people, we consult this source, we consult this resource, we try and pay for it, we try and manipulate it, we try and fix it, we try and church it away. We go to church instead of going to God. We do everything we can because we don't have enough faith in prayer. And if we don't have enough faith in prayer, that literally means that we don't have enough faith in God. Because prayer is connecting us to Him. It is speaking to Him as He is a friend. There are three things that I want you to get about prayer today. Number one, prayer is an act of relationship. That's right. Prayer is a deliberate act of relationship. When you pray, not if, when you pray, you're praying because you believe that God is. You believe that He exists, that He's all-powerful, that He's not just the omnipotent God, but He's a loving Father. Not just that He is transcendent, but that He's immanent. Not just that He's high above, but that He's close to us. And we believe that we have relationship with Him, that we are, by faith, the sons and daughters of God. That means that we come to Him as children dependent on their Heavenly Father. Prayer is an act of relationship. But then number two, prayer is an act of righteousness. It's the right thing to do. It is the decision that we make. It's the deliberate, intentional decision that we make to call on the name of the Lord because we're believers. Because we know that this is what we've been called to do, that God's house is a house of prayer. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, we sing, we preach, we serve, but do we do enough praying? Prayer is where we're transformed. Prayer is where character changes. Prayer is where we submit to God. It's a deliberate act of relationship, a deliberate act of righteousness. But then number three, prayer is a powerful act of resistance. Yes! Prayer is an act of resistance. You are looking at worry and anxiety and strife and the things that weigh you down, those burdens that weigh heavy on your shoulder. And you are saying, I will not be subject to you. I will make you subject to my all-powerful, omnipotent Father. You are resisting the pressure to crumble under the burden of life's problems. You are praying in an act of resistance, saying, I will not worry. I will not fear. I will not be anxious. I will trust in God. It means that we have to do more of it. Pray continually. I don't know what stops us from praying. but I do know it's the most powerful thing that the believer will ever do. What do you need to pray about today? Like on June 6, 1944, everybody felt a need for prayer suddenly. Like you see football players at the end of a game, when they take a knee, all of these different people in the world, we see the need for prayer. What is driving your need today? I pray that you'll pray without ceasing, that you will exist in the very presence of God, because that's what prayer is. Anyway, it's great seeing you, praying God's best for you. This is Gracepoints. God bless you.